Hey church family, it's Maria. I'm here in my office in Riverside and I get to do the Recap Monday today. And the purpose of Recap Monday is just to help us clear the clutter of our Mondays where we start focusing on everything else and just remind us of what the message was yesterday and what was it about. Sorry, I don't have my tripod thing today. So I'm holding the camera. But I just to refresh and help refocus our attention on what God told us yesterday through Pastor Joe and through his word. And I don't know about you, but I really resonated with some of the illustrations he used, like the mom whistle, or the dad who called his son's name and it was like beeline of attention. I remember when I grew up playing basketball. I'm 5'10", like I was a small forward. I was pretty good. And our team was pretty good. And so a lot of people came to watch our teams. So I remember specifically in so many games, what was so fascinating to me was when the crowd was like going crazy, like stomping on the bleachers and everything. If I was playing and everything was so noisy, literally my dad, he didn't even have to raise his voice. I could hear him like give me a direction, like, Maria, you better block out. Or Maria, post up. Or Maria, like I could hear him above everybody else. It's so funny. And, I was listening to Joe talk and it really reminded me of that. And why did I hear his voice above the crowd, above all the chaos, the competing sides, the back and forth of the game, even my coach's voice, which I could hear my coach's voice too, but my dad's voice was the voice I was most familiar with. And I had spent years listening to his voice and listening to his direction. And so I was familiar and I knew it when I heard it. And I knew I better listen because we're probably going to have a good talk at the end of the game if I blocked out or if I played well or whatever. He was a good dad, but just got me thinking about that concept that Joe talked about was, Jesus is our good shepherd. And he is the one we follow. And he is the one that's trustworthy. And I love thinking about it through the way of this culture, and there's so many competing views for leading us and competing opinions about what is the right decision about life and everything. But really, Jesus transcends all those things, and he teaches us how to be different and how to live in the way of peace. I'm so sorry if I'm shaking the camera so much, guys. But he teaches us how to be different. And so what must we do is we need to focus in on his voice. And we need to familiarize ourselves with his voice. And how do we do that? As we get into his word on a daily basis. We surround ourselves with worship. We get with other believers and we hear teaching. And we focus on that voice and we treasure it and we read it and we memorize it so that we can recognize it when we need to focus on what we need to do. And we need wisdom. And we need to be obedient to that voice. And what's so nice about hearing the messages of God being or Jesus being our good shepherd, just the phrases being so beautiful that he knows us and we can know his voice. We can hear his voice when he calls us. Not being an audible thing necessarily, but just familiar with what is true. And so as we go into this week, as we go into the next few weeks, voting, ballots, stepping into conversations in the workplace, stepping into our workflow and our family, like, would we transcend to truth by focusing in on the good shepherd's voice, our dad, who just knows how to get our attention and focus our hearts on his voice and what he has to say. And by that, we transcend the culture and we know what's right and wrong, and we know how to love people through disagreement and chaos. And so that was my encouragement through this message this weekend, and focus on how good God is and how good he's been to us, and how we have a God that knows us, knows our names, and speaks to us and gives us his word so that we might follow him and we might be taken care of by him. And let's get to know his voice even more, church. So have a great week, and go Lakers.